We are from different time zones, so I'm just going to say good day, everyone. Thanks for joining, and welcome to Exploring Waves of the Blue Economy. The Ripples of Mentorship. Now, I am from St. Kitts and Nevis, and that's the Twin Island Federation in the Caribbean. And so our population size is approximately 50,000. So when you see small numbers in persons who are being featured, it's because we don't have a large number, but we have been making quite an impact. For my industry research, we did interviews and surveys. And we realized, and this is done in 2 phases. So we realized that there is a lack of women in senior level positions within the maritime sector in St. Kitts and Nevis. And of course, this has implications for achieving our SDG targets, especially considering SDG 5, 13, and 14. So, as a part of the Women in Maritime Association Caribbean, we have a maritime baseline tool survey. And so using that to look at agency profile and also the gender in the workplace, we were able to come up, we used 2 entities. Of course, I'm biased, so I used where I work, the Department of Marine Resources, as well as the Maritime Affairs Department. And in Maritime Affairs Department, there is only 1 junior level position where a woman is in that position. In the Department of Marine Resources, there are actually 3 for senior level, right? What the Department of Maritime Affairs did is actually do cross-sectoral capacity building for women. So they didn't have persons who would have been able to fit particular criteria, and so they were able to pull from Department of Environment in Nevis, Department of Marine Resources, and also the legal department. And so Thema Ward, Tricia King, Maritza Queely, Marita Cable, and Althea Campbell, all of us were able to benefit from this cross-sectoral capacity building. Althea and Thema are actually graduates of the World Maritime University. And so that is how, you know, the opportunities that were created were really beneficial to these individuals. Also looking at representation from St. Kitts and Nevis for the Women in Maritime Association Caribbean, we have, we've had mixed contingents, mixed representation. And so Thema Ward, myself and Tamika Lawrence were able to attend and participate. I now serve as the Vice President of the WIMAC. And so it has been such a great journey, because then you really get to explore and network and build and support other women. So this has been a very incredible journey for me. I've also had the opportunity to do really great capacity building, networking and training in UTT, that's the University of Trinidad and Tobago, and also with MTCC Caribbean, the Maritime Technology Cooperation Center. Now, the driving force and one of my mentors was really Mr. McLean Hobson. He was the former director of Maritime Affairs, and he was able to really push us to be trained, to be prepared to operate in these sectors, right? And really just show appreciation to him. And something else I was going to say. Oh, I remember in the chat the other day, we were talking about having men included in different women organizations, because their support helps to open doors that we didn't know or we don't have access to. And so this is something that was really important and critical. Now, phase 2, the problem is that there's minimal to no formalized workforce preparation present in the St. Kitts and Nevis maritime sector. And now we have, and Cody's actually online, so she's seen herself as well. Now we'll have a little testimonial by Cody.
My name is Cody Edwards, and I'm currently pursuing my undergraduate degree in marine biology. I first met Tracy roughly 5 years ago, just as I completed my college degree, and I was looking for avenues to pursue a career in marine biology. And after our initial meeting, I was never more sure that I wanted to become a marine biologist and have a career within the marine environment. And since then, especially after I started working at the Department of Marine Resources, Tracy has become my mentor, and she's always encouraged me and supported me throughout my entire time at Department of Marine Resources, and even now as I pursue my degree. Tracy pushed me to become a certified diver, which I'm very grateful that I've had that training, as it allowed me the opportunity to take part in underwater surveys. And she's also recommended me to work with several organizations such as the Sea Turtle Monitoring Network, Reef Guardians, and Man the Biosphere. And I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to work with these organizations, as it increased my knowledge about the marine environment and also certain marine species, but also it increased my communication skills and my presentation skills, as well as my leadership skills, all of which have come in handy now as part of my degree, where I'm having to present and communicate with members of academic staff and my peers, and having to hold conversations around the marine environment. And it's really made me confident in the contributions that I'm able to make. And also during my time at the Department of Marine Resources, I was able to work on the St. Kitts Nevis Marine Management Area, where I had to interact with fishers and be a part of the data collection process. And I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity, as now I've secured an internship looking at sustainable inshore fisheries, and having that experience to draw on has made me more comfortable and confident in the role that I'm currently having to fill, where I have to interact with local fishers and I'm having to collect data. And I'm very grateful that Tracy pushed me to have these experiences, and that even now she's still pushing me to take part in all of the opportunities that may come my way. And I'm very grateful to have had her support over the last 5 years.
Okay, I didn't even realize it was 5 years until Cody sent me that video. And I was like, wow, it flew by so fast. So one of the things that she mentioned was the Skin AEEF Guardians. And what happened is we came up with this concept that we would train persons and we would have a mix of theory and in-water experiences. So they actually snorkel. One of the things that was memorable for me, especially in the first cohort, was the morning Cody actually led on the presentation talking about turtles. And then we went out in the afternoon, and there was about 20 of us. And then a turtle actually came up when we went to Frigate Bay Beach. And so they literally just learned about turtles, went in the ocean and saw a turtle. And that was just a transformative moment for most of them. That was one of the things that they spoke about. And even as the coordinator, that was just magical, right? Because you knew that they would definitely remember all those things they learned because of that experience. The certification requires a 90% pass mark. And yes, it is high, yes. But what it is, it's really supposed to have them trained to the point where they would be able to make those presentations after. And so they had to have a very good understanding of the concept and the knowledge in order to share. We actually introduced a second level. So there are 2 levels of certification. So after you pass the first level, you actually come back as a trainer of trainers in order to receive the second level certification. We had 3 successful cohorts in 2019, and then in last year, in 2021, we had 2 cohorts during that year. And the second cohort, well, the third cohort actually had training done in St. Kitts, on the island of St. Kitts, and on the island of Nevis. And so both, because of COVID, so we had to separate the batch. And so both sets of persons were able to be trained simultaneously. And that was such a feat to be able to say that it has been a successful training. Now, the ripples of all of the entities that these mentors would have interacted with span from the UNESCO Man in the Biosphere St. Mary's Reserve to the Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine One Health Master's Program, the Green Ambassadors, the Caribbean Youth Environment Network, the Ripple Institute for St. Kitts and Nevis, the St. Kitts Sustainable Destination Council, just across the sector. So it wasn't just maritime, it wasn't just tourism, it was really a cross-sectoral approach. And having them actually interact with all these different persons created opportunities for them to have additional mentors. And so it was really important to have that integration. Then I developed an internship program. And so it's dive in to internship, and I like puns. So there was a comprehensive program developed, and it was spanning 1 month. And this featured 2 males, Kaijian Atley and DeAndre Woodley. And they had the experience of not just training Reef Guardians and getting their level 2 certification, but they were also able to intern in each division present in the Department of Marine Resources St. Kitts office and the Nevis office. So it really was successful. We're also looking at having 2 sets of interns come on this year. And so it's a continuous process. Now, when it comes to mentee opportunities, if I get an opportunity, I try to share it with them as well. There's a youth group, a youth environment group that reached out to me to do a marine coastal tour and lecture series. And I said, aha, let me get my mentees in on this. And so there were 4 of them that were assisting, and they were introduced and they were credentialed, and they felt so special doing it, because then they were able to share the knowledge that they learned to a new set of students. So then they had the opportunity now to become mentors to a group of mentees, right? There was another opportunity where this was actually a private consultancy, and it was dealing with invasive alien species in St. Kitts and Nevis. And again, I had my mentees in on it, and they actually received financial compensation for this. And so it is a way to not just have them doing stuff, but they also see the benefit, and they feel the tangible benefit of having these opportunities and really looking at the marine and maritime sector as viable sources of income, right? So it was a really good opportunity, and I'm really proud of them. They did an excellent job. And because some of them are online, I'm going to say this, they did an excellent job, and really want to continue this, right? When I looked at, when I calculated the numbers, from 2016, I would have been in the position to be training persons in a formalized way. So of course there was informal training done throughout this, and the numbers I I would never be able to really calculate, right? But in terms of formalized training, and it was 64 persons over that time. And this was a very emotional slide to create, because I was like, wow, 64 persons, right? But there's more work to be done. So we have to look at creating a national workforce gap analysis and really look at innovative mechanisms to support public-private partnerships in order to supplement staffing issues, placement, and training. I really have to, especially through the SheEO program, I looked at some of the trainings that we received, and I said, I really have to also integrate some soft skills into the training so that it's more than just learning about marine biology or about the maritime sector. but it's more than that, so they can develop and grow. The Skin AEEF Guardians was not just meant to focus just youth and students, but also to be implemented in the blue economy sector work plan so that capacity building can happen for other employees. And we tested this with the second cohort of the Reef Guardians. So we had 5 government agencies on the island of Nevis who sent their employees to be trained, right? And the Skin AEEF Guardian model could be adapted and replicated in the neighboring islands so that this can be used as a best practice. I really want to say thank you to the Maritime SheEO Leap Program administrators and tutors, as well as the participants, my sisters, for your support throughout this journey. It was really, really great. And that's the end of my presentation.